Good evening, everyone. Welcome again back to another What's Happening Now with CNI Solutions. Just give us people a few minutes to log on. We still got people who are trying to log on to the Facebook Live. We're going to give them 1 to 2 minutes, okay? And then we'll get started. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome back to another edition of What's Happening Now in CNI Solutions. This week we got a very interesting panel for us. A lot of good information that's going to be put out. We asked for those who have any comments, any questions, please put them in the chat. And myself or Bruce Famby or even Valerie King will try our best to get those questions answered for you. From anyone here on the panel. My name is Charles Fry. I am president of CNI Solutions.
And I'm Bruce Famby. I'm the Director of Education with CNI Solutions.
And my name is Valerie King. I sit on the board as the treasurer of CNI Solutions.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharika Williams-Fry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barry Cameron.
So, first of all, before we really get started, I just want to remind everyone about the TTE event that we did have last week. We will be giving out those gift cards and prizes tomorrow live here at CNI Solutions at 5 p.m. Central Time. If you came out and you did get your vaccination for your second shot or even your third shot for the booster, you were put into the drawing to be one of the recipients of the gift cards. Okay, and also as a reminder, we are still auctioning, or I should say not auction, but raffling off our 50-inch smart TV. For those who are interested in buying a ticket, by all means, you can cash app to $ CNI Solutions. Make sure you put in the for TV, your phone number, and your name to be put in that drawing. If you want to use PayPal, you can go to info@cni-solutions.org. I will put all this in the chat so that you all can have that information as well. If you just want to mail in payment for it, just mail it in to 1035 Putman Drive, Suite F, Huntsville, Alabama, 35806. We also have on Zoom another recipient or participant, Miss Faye Prescott. Do you want to introduce yourself, ma'am? Looks like they might have stepped away, having a hard time. Okay. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone.
Hi, I'm Faye Prescott. I'm here in.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I want to welcome everyone here to this session. This is not a formal thing. This is going to be an informal, interactive talking session, and just want to get to learn more about breast cancer awareness. And for those of us who have not been party to anyone who has been close to them, who hasn't, who's gone through it, who has survived it, and we're just trying to get everybody's idea and their feelings of what they went through so that others can have an understanding and be able to address it appropriately. Valerie, I know you've been working with CNI Solutions and you yourself being a survivor. What is this like for you?
Charles, it's been a journey that has, like no other experience I've had in my life. I was diagnosed in 2013. I was overseas at the time, and I did not fit into any of the categories that that's on the checklist that says if you're this, if you're that, then you're susceptible to having breast cancer. None of that I identify with. However, I went to the doctor, and within weeks after going to the doctor and being examined, doing a personal exam, I felt a lump. And what that lump feels like, it's like a dry bean, you know, it's or a pebble. Would you concur?
Yeah.
It's like a pebble, and so it just sort of caught me off guard. So it couldn't be that because it didn't fit me. Well, it turned out it did. And unfortunately, I allowed it to grow because what the CDC and what is out there on the internet to say that it fits me, what it should, I fit into that category. I sort of ignored it and sort of put it back. And when it became an issue, I addressed the issue, and it turned out that it was breast cancer.
So
So
I have a question though. So
Okay.
when you say when it became an issue, how much of that are you allowed to discuss?
well, I'm very open about my experience, and I think each of us, would you say,
Yes.
are very open. You too, Faye, or if you ask me, I will tell you. May tell you too much information.
Okay,
But
great.
for me, it was just I was in the Middle East, and it got to the point where I could not wear undergarment, and that was an issue because I could not go outside of my apartment without it on. So when it became an issue where I couldn't wear that, then I thought, okay, I need to do something about this, and that's when I went to the doctor to seek medical treatment. Or to find out, not really medical treatment, just find out what it was. And even the doctor, she said, oh, you drink coffee? I said, I drink a lot of coffee. You drink tea? I drink a lot of tea. She said, oh, it's probably just a water sis. And I said, okay. And it was very casual in finding out. How was it for you, Derek? How did you come to find out?
Mine was a little bit different. So I felt the same lump,
Okay.
but I was playing sports at the time. So I was playing flag football. And I took a hit in that area, so it was bruised. So that was the only reason why I kept rubbing it. And then I let it go by for a couple of months, thinking that the bruise, it was just a deep bruise or whatever have you. And when the knot felt like it was getting bigger, that's when I decided to go to the doctor. But I let it go on for past more than 2 months.
That's it.
So Derek, this is very interesting, because me being ignorant to breast cancer and breast cancer awareness, this is something that I always thought was a female thing. Never in my wildest dreams did I thought males were affected by this.
Right.
And so you have truly taught me something, and I'm really interested to learn more and to do more to help males understand that this is not just female related, but it affects us too.
It does. And just like you, I had no clue. And I was ignorant to the situation, obviously, because it doesn't run in my family. And I had the genetic testing, so I don't carry the gene, it doesn't run in my family. So I was surprised, to say the least. And then that just started an emotional roller coaster, and a lot of decisions that were made on site at the time that I found out. I made decisions at that time. So that's when I found out. I went ahead and had a double vasectomy. I made the decision on double vasectomy based upon the guidance of the doctor that, did the diagnosis.
Wow.
Derek, you mentioned genetic testing.
Mhm.
Is that something that was recommended, or is that something that you recommend? Or?
It was recommended to me, and just so that way I will know, and then I'll know that, for my family and everybody else, that they will know.
So that was prior to, or was that during the?
Oh no, that was during the procedure. So I would say that was during my treatment.
Okay.
So like in the middle of my treatment. My treatment lasted about 6 months.
Okay.
Sharitha, does it run in your family?
It does run in my family, but I also, as Derek mentioned, did the genetic testing and was found negative. I've actually had 6 out of 9 aunts on my maternal side to have breast cancer.
And how did you find out?
I found out 3 weeks after my second COVID vaccine. I felt a lump in, reading all the side effects with COVID vaccines, like there is a known issue to have like swollen lymph nodes. So I brushed off about a week, but then I also, with that history, I went ahead and called my doctor.
Now, was the process in getting the treatment, was it slow start, or was once it started everything's just like move really fast?
It was like a whirlwind. As soon as I went in for my mammogram, keep in mind I am only 39, so per
Wow.
CDC, you're only supposed to start having your mammograms at age 40, unless you have a familial history. Although I have a familial history, my mother did not have breast cancer, so I wouldn't have been able to get the mammogram until age 40. Once I went for my mammogram, we went ahead and did the ultrasound, and from the ultrasound, I could see that there was a mass, and I asked them immediately for a biopsy. So all of that happened the same day.
Faye, would you like to share your story with us?
Sure. I had early detection. So I do believe in early detection save lives. My radiologist that I was going to, once I went to get my mammogram, he saw something starting to form. So he kept me coming in for a mammogram every 6 months, and he watched it. And once it got to a certain point, that's when he said he did a biopsy, and the biopsy came back as it being cancer. And then we scheduled for the surgeon and just started rolling from there. But he kept an eye on it, so I never got to the point where there was a lump that formed or anything like that. He just kept an eye on it for a year.
For a year?
Yeah, I had 2 mammograms within every 6 months I was going in. And at one point I said, well, I don't think they know what they're looking at because I think they're just trying to get more money out of my insurance company. And the day I said that is the day that he saw that it had formed into cancer.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, so let me ask, how should family members, friends, spouses, how should we show our support for those who are affected with breast cancer or any cancer, period?
I was just saying, always giving affirmations, daily texts and reminder that we will get through this. That's important.
And how long we've been together? I think that's very important.
Since August of this year.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Yes,
Right. Yeah, so I was healed 8 years ago, and 8 years out, I'm still tired. You know, I need people to understand that even though it's been 8 years ago, it's really seems like it was only yesterday.
Yeah.
It's always, it's never at the back of my mind, and it's not something that I dwell on all the time, but it's there. It, you know, it's there. And if you are a parent, it's the thing like, okay, I know they're okay, but I still have a child. It doesn't matter what city or what state they're in, I still have a child somewhere, and they may just cross your mind, I just wonder how they're doing. So it's just to cross my mind. But to me, it's having people to understand that just because you feel it's over does not mean that it's over for me.
Right.
That's important. I believe that is really important.
Yeah.
Derek, question for you, sir. I've had many checkups with my doctor, whether it be a physical for work, whether it be just my annual checkup. Never has he mentioned the word breast cancer to me, or should, you might want to do a check on it, or has he placed his hands on my chest to check to see if I have anything? What would you say to the men out there, who are viewing this? What advice would you give to them?
I would say, pay attention to your body. Your body is going to tell you one way or another. The symptoms come differently for different people. It's just like a reaction to anything. So it's not normal to be checked for breast cancer, but you still need to do your annual checkups, because based upon what's going on inside the body, it can be represented in the blood. It can be represented through the skin. Your body's going to tell you when something's not right. So you still need to get your annual checkups. So, and that's one thing that I was not a fan of before this situation. I hated going to the doctor. Most men do. We just hate going to the doctor. But now I'm a big advocate to make sure that all men go to the doctor. Everybody needs to go to the doctor. And if you don't go to the doctor and you're married or you have a family or people that depend on you, it's kind of selfish if you don't. Because at the end of the day, these people may depend on you in one form or fashion, one way or another. But at the end of the day, then you're gonna want somebody to be there for you when you could have took care of them. Or at least caught them in the front end. So go get checked is my biggest thing.
Right.
So I did hear someone mention that it's recommended from a female's perspective that mammogram start at 39, 40. So what do you do prior to that?
Self-breast exams is key.
Self-breast exams? Okay.
So Faye, were you going to get your mammogram on a regular basis?
Yes, I was. I was keeping up with my mammograms, and my family does not have a history of breast cancer, so I was very shocked that something like that affected me, because I'm the first one that I know of that had it. And I do my mammograms every year. Well, they have me doing it every 6 months now because when I went to get my COVID vaccination, they're trying to, my lymph node on the other side was swollen. So they're trying to see if it was from the vaccination or if it's cancer again.
Yeah.
So we're still keeping an eye on that. So now I go get a mammogram every 3 months.
So, Faye and everyone here, how does this affect one's mental state?
We'll let Faye start with that one.
I try not to think about it. I try to get other stuff on, to distract me from always thinking about it. But when you have a whole team of all of these appointments that I have to go to, I have to go see an oncologist all the time. I have to go to see an oncologist radiologist all the time. Then I have to go see my surgeon. And then I have to also go to the radiology department all the time to get my mammograms for them to keep up with what's going on. So I have these appointments with doctors all the time and with other issues, other underlying issues that I have. So it's like I'm taking so much medicine for everything and taking shots and all of that. And I just feel, and like she said, you don't get your strength back. And with me going through the radiation and everything, my hair, I already had scalp problems and my hair just would not come, it didn't come back in certain spots. So I keep my head bald now because the doctor said I have scar tissue and it's not going to grow back.
So when were you
So say again?
When were you diagnosed? What year?
I was diagnosed at the end of 2019.
I wanted to add on to what she was saying, the emotional roller coaster is real. Because when you're going through it, there's so many emotions and things that you're trying to figure out, right? Because your whole world is turned upside down. But the thing about it is, once you get through it, and we're all warriors and we've gotten victory over this situation, and I get it. But the thing that most people don't realize is that the things that you normally, if you haven't gone through it, if you take it for granted, it's a reminder to us, and it's a reminder of death. So then now you're facing death on a constant pattern. So you probably overlook so many commercials that you just brush by, but it's a reminder to us. And then you look through and see conversations and have conversations with other people. It's a reminder to us, but you'll brush it by. And so then the reason why it's so important to have that supporting cast is that you still need that level of sanity of things are still normal for the most part, because it'll bring you back out of what you are encountering. And like you'll slip off into a place and then just a card or a phone call or a text message or a hug or a touch from the right person will bring you out of it. So we encounter things that where we're going back and forth consistently. We'll go a day, a month, hours, a week, almost a year. It'll be a good time. And then somebody or something will happen. And then it's a reminder and it puts you right back in that space again. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's an ongoing battle. It's going to be a forever battle.
Right.
Because we're just going to have to keep going through it from this point forward.
Well, that you bring up a really good point. How from you guys' perspective, how important is it for others who have enter into the journey that y'all have entered to be able to share that with others so that they can maintain their stability and their sanity what they're going through? Because from listening to everyone, it is an emotional roller coaster, and it puts you in a different perspective than from those of us who are not. So I would think it would be very important that those people share with others, let them know, like, hey, what I'm going through something right now. And because I'm irritable or because I'm not wanting to do certain things, it's not you, it's just something I'm going through, and I just need you to be here for me. I need you to be here by my side and help me walk through this. I just try to get to the other side of it. How important is that?
I think it's very important. The reason why I say that is, I try to put myself, excuse me, I try to just go day to day. I try not to be down. And I know that I'm here for a reason and that I want to be here for my children. And it's key to have like a strong support system,
It is.
a mentor such as Miss Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important to me.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Faye, did you have to embark, and when you took your journey, did you get a mentor? Did you work with anybody? You know, I know that we all want to be strong, and I know that we all feel like we are bigger than something, but do you feel it's important that you have somebody by your side that's just going to be there for that day that you can't be strong?
Yes, that was very important. I had my sister-in-law who also went through, had breast cancer, was my buddy through the whole thing. She was there from day one, and with that help, it helped me a whole lot. Emotionally, it helped me a whole lot. To see her there when I come out of when I came out of surgery, she was there. She was there through the whole thing. So having that emotional person with you to help you keep your mind straight without getting in that depressive state is very important. It was very important, and I was glad to have her there by my side.
Right, right, right.
For me, I didn't have anybody. And it was, my family was encouraging. When I say I didn't have anybody, I didn't have anybody who had ventured the journey prior to me. So, and everyone that I knew, or most of the people I knew that had went through had died. And if there's any advice that I could give, that I could share, is do not tell a person who is going through, who's been diagnosed, that someone you loved or someone you know had breast cancer or had any kind of cancer and died. You know, that just takes all the wind out. And I had people, constantly coming to me. And I don't think they were being mean,
No.
but they would say that their sister or their aunt or their mother had went through breast cancer and they beat it, but then it came back and they died. And it was always like, and they died. And I'm thinking like, get away from me. So I prayed and I said, God, give me something. I said, I can't take it. I just can't. It was just crushing me. That and died was crushing me every time because, like they said, you're constantly going to the doctor and you don't know, with the genomic testing coming back and they tell you what type of treatment you're going to need, or with the genetic testing coming back, it's hereditary or it's not hereditary. When all those tests come back, it's just so much. But just hear that and died and God gave me, he says, I said, God, give me something. I said, when the person comes back to me again and tell me that someone that they know, coworker, family member, whoever had died, give me something to say. So person knocked on the door and said that their relative, whoever had breast cancer, and they died. And I says, well, you know what? Now you know somebody who's lived after having it. And that was, he really just, when God gave me that, and it wasn't something that I knew beforehand. It wasn't until that individual was at the door and speaking to me, that I was able, that he gave me that word to speak. And it uplifted me from that point forward. And now I'm that person. I am that person that was diagnosed 8 years ago. And it was at that point that I no longer was a survivor, but that I was healed. So that's where that's why I take on, I didn't survive. I was healed from it.
Very good, very good. Those of you who are viewing on via Facebook Live, please do take time out to share this video. I think there's a very important message here that all should know about, all should get a chance to hear. And one of the things I also want to bring up, I know Valerie, you and I were speaking earlier in the week, and one of the statistics that you came across was that African Americans are more prone to have, well, I should say, have breast cancer and not survive it. Why is that?
It's simply because they don't get treated. Would you agree with that, Derek?
I would agree. That's a whole different conversation, but I would agree because it's so much that goes into that. The statistics of them not actually going to the doctor, then the statistics of them being treated differently. You know, we don't get the same level of treatment all the time.
Right.
And it really depends on the environment that you're in, the market that you're in, what doctors you go to, how advanced are they in the area that you're getting looked at, in this case, breast cancer. Then I would say that because and let's look at it in a bigger standpoint as well. 10 years ago, it was 1 out of every 12 women would develop some form of an invasive breast cancer, right? Now it's 1 in 8. Okay, so it's growing, right? For the men, it's one in every 100,000, right? So in Madison County, for the year that I was diagnosed, it was 1 in 3. It would have been 1 out of 3 in Madison County. Okay, but I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a doctor that was or an oncologist that treated me with without being dismissive. And a lot of times, certain communities are getting dismissive treatments or diagnosis or misdiagnosis and things of that nature. And we will always say, you know, if you get diagnosed one way and you're not comfortable, go get another diagnosis. And a lot of people won't do it and just take the first word that they hear and just run with it. So I do agree with you. It's just, I think we have a lot of misdiagnosis, which leads to a higher rate of death from the diagnosis.
I know we're here in Huntsville, Alabama. Faye, you are in Savannah, Georgia. From your perspective, and going to the doctors and you learning more about this in our community, how do you see it affects us there?
I see a lot of people not going to get their mammograms, not keeping up with their health care. A lot of them, I feel, you know, it's not going to happen to me. It always happens to somebody else. And then it gets out of hand and it gets to a point where they can't be helped. So it does affect the community here also.
Right. So I guess it's very important that, you know, we as a people, we educate ourselves and we educate others as well in order to beat this, in order for we can continue to have survivors such as yourselves out there. You know, I think that's very, very important. Brewster, I know you did a lot of work and research on this before this meeting. You know, what were some of the things that you discovered during your research?
Well, some of the things I just, for one, I know this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I had a sister who also went through cancer, but it wasn't breast cancer. And let me tell you a little bit about this dismissiveness, right? Saw a doctor, asked her if she had AIDS, saw another doctor, asked her something else. It just so happened that she works in a laboratory. She tested her own blood. And after she tested it, she went back to her doctor and gave that doctor the results. And the doctor says, "What do you think it is?" And she says, "Well, I think I have leukemia." And she had leukemia. And, you know, thank God, you know, she's also a survivor. And so there are a lot of statistics out there. I went to the CDC, did a lot of looking up information. That CDC website will give you statistics, but there's nothing that beats a mammogram. We had a couple of slides we want to show. There is a certain way that you do check for those things, and don't be afraid to do it. You know, as many have said in this circle, hey, if you feel something that doesn't feel right, if you have to phone a friend and say, "Hey, can you go with me to see my doctor?" So don't hesitate to do that. And I will even say when it comes to my sister, she knew something was wrong. She just knew in the very core of her spirit that something was wrong. So I say to all of you, thank you very much for doing what you've done and for your supporters. You all can't see it out on Facebook, but there are some supporters in the room. So I give thanks for those who are here. There's going to continue to be a need for that. So one of my favorite saying, hey, I am you and you are me.
Yeah.
We're no different in this thing. There's
there's-
always something.
There's also another reason why Black females don't get are hesitant about getting the treatment is because they don't want the disfigurement that is associated with the treatment. Most time people think Derek shared that he had a double mastectomy. And some people have lumpectomies. They're different things. You can just have one mastectomy or one breast removed, or you can have both of them. It is your choice. And out over the years, I've ran into young ladies who did not want to have that double mastectomy or the lumpectomy because they didn't want to be disfigured for whatever their reasons were. But my thoughts was, wow, it's an opportunity to get a boob job. You get a free boob job. And not only that, but there was also I don't know if when I was going through, one of the things, the options that was given to me was where they could take some of your stomach fat and move it up. Yeah, I don't know if they're still doing that procedure or not, but it was a boob job and a tummy tuck. Wow. That was something a decision that I did not make. I chose to do something, chose not to take that route. But there are different reconstructions or no reconstruction. Those things are just personal decision. And that's one thing about this journey is every decision you make is personal. And if you don't make, and I think people should understand who are advising us on what we should do, what treatments we should get, or the reconstruction, whatever it is, offer your opinion. But it's a decision that I will live with for the remainder of my life. And if I choose not to take your decision, it's in no way does it mean that I don't respect your opinion.
Right.
But this is a decision that I have to make and live with for the remainder of my life. So do each of you, Faye, Derek, and Sharitha, are you comfortable sharing your diagnosis? Or do you recall what your diagnosis was?
I'll let the ladies go first, because I remember, but I'll let Sharitha go first.
Okay, so my diagnosis is HER2 negative breast cancer.
And Faye, do you recall?
I don't. I'm trying to think now what they said it was. I don't recall what they said it was.
And if I remember correctly, it's HER2.
HER2 negative. So my the genomic test that came back for the cancer that was in my body was estrogen positive, progesterone positive, and HER2 positive. So it's ER positive, PR positive, HER2 positive. And none of them are a death sentence.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've met people who have heard that when you hear, and HER2 is very common within the African American community, whether positive or negative, and people will associate that it being associated with the death sentence. But cancer is not a death sentence. It is a living sentence. It is one that makes you want to live, want to experience life differently than what you previously. I see you smiling hard over there.
Because that's one of the things I was gonna bring up too, is it does. Because one, think about everything that I said before in regards to the emotional roller coaster. After you get to a certain point, you look at life different. And time is the one thing that we know that is precious, and nobody gets more than the next person.
Right.
So now especially me, I'll just say me, I value time more. So I value the time that I have on this earth. The grass is greener, the air smells cleaner,
Mhm.
you know, the sky is bluer. So, and I take time to appreciate the little things more that I used to take advantage of and just take for granted, you know. And so, you know, I just appreciate people and the situations that I go through in life more now than I did before I had birth.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really, really do thank everyone for coming in this evening and partaking in this session that was full of education and a learning experience for not for myself, but I'm sure for many of the viewers out there on Facebook who was unaware of some of the things that was brought for you today about breast cancer, not only in women, but also in men as well. So again, please share this with those on that you might think could use this information. Please share it. Closing remarks going around the room, starting with you, Ms. Lisa.
I'll go last. Let's start with Faye and we'll work our way around.
Ms. Faye.
It started with me. Okay, well, the only thing I have to say is it is good to have that support from their family and to have that one to be by your side. And like I said, early detection does save lives, and do not put off getting your mammograms done, because they detected mine early and it did not spread to any of my lymph nodes, which was a good thing. And going through the process of it all was very emotionally draining, because of what going through the radiation was draining. All of it was draining to me. And just stay confident in your journey, and everything will be okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Brewster.
Oh, me? Okay. Well, hey, you know, I'm a note taker, but you know, I wrote a note. I'm going to do a roll call with my family and friends, right? And the roll call is, hey, have you had your mammogram? When was the last time you had your mammogram? Go and get checked. So that is the last note that I have in my my little book here. So I'm appreciative of each and every one that's here, even the one that are in the room viewing. Like I said to my brother here, it's just amazing. I'm thankful that you are willing to share your story, because we men we need to know. Yeah, absolutely, we need to know.
Jerry.
I would say, don't forget about the caregivers and the supporting cast, the family and friends that are here to support those that are going through it, have been going through it in recent time. Don't forget about those individuals. And a lot of times I know, like you said before, a lot of people don't know what to say. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Just your presence alone. If you don't know what to say and somebody that's close to you is going through it, just show up. And sometimes you don't even have to know or know what to say. You just have to know what to do. Sometimes if you just show up and it can be so simple as washing dishes, cutting the grass, washing the lawn, taking out the trash. Do something for that individual that they typically couldn't do. It would mean the world to them, because they know that you care, and you don't have to say a word. So those are the little things. And I also say for you, because I know it's a recent diagnosis, is that keep talking.
Yes.
Keep talking. It'll be a relief to you. And you can always call on me. I know you got a support cast here. You got a great support cast. You got a great mentor. Just keep talking, and it'll help soften the blow just a little bit. You know what I mean? And it'll keep you centered.
Thank you, Ms. Reese.
I will piggyback off of Ms. Faye when she said early detection is key. because it is. Never think that it couldn't happen to you because it can. And just keep your appointments. Never be afraid to go to the doctor, and always talk. A lot of times in the African American community, it's always like, do not, per se, broadcast your business. But I think for me, it helped a lot. As soon as I found out my diagnosis, I didn't keep it private. I let everybody know.
I agree with that. I agree 100%. Because I think our silence is what's killing so many.
Silence is
Yeah,
a killer.
it is a killer.
Okay.
So for me, like I said, it's been 8 years, and I would not have made it without my family. I would not have made it without my 18-year-old daughter, my husband. I mean, my sons, my sister driving across Tennessee to check on me. My mother, my brothers, my family, my friends. They all, my church members. It just amazed me. Even my neighbors, especially my neighbors, they all stepped up to the plate. And like you said, they always didn't know what to say,
Mhm,
but they were there
mhm.
and they just sat. And even my grandson, who at the time was just 2, sometimes he just come and cuddle. He didn't know what was going on, but the presence of someone being there
Mhm.
for you, and in the aftermath of it all, is not thinking that it's over.
Yeah.
Just because I am 8 years removed, for you, 11 years removed, you since August and Faye since May, it's still ever, I just want people to know that it is ever present, and it carries a lasting effect. They talk about long hauls with people with COVID. We have a long, the brain fog from the chemo, the joints aching, because I still take medication. I still take a low dose chemo. So it's the low immune system. So just don't think that it's over, because it's not. Just because it's past for you, it's still ever present for us.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I thank all of you all, and I applaud you all. Again, everyone out there in Facebook land, please share this video with those loved ones or friends and family that you think could benefit from it. I think it's very important. And before we close, just remember, your yesterday is not your today. Your today is not your tomorrow. I'm Charles Fry with CNI Solutions. Until next time, good night.
Good night.
Right. Thank you.